We ready?
No, sir. Just yet, let me get the clock on. It's coming.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to come out of executive session.
Got a motion by Mr. Bishop,
Second.
second by Mr. Johnson. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Let the record reflect no action taken in executive session. Okay. Do we have any additional items to be discussed?
Where are we at on all of our building situation?
Let me give you, I'll give you my summation, Jay, and then Ms. Laura can jump in here at any point. We've got Larry here as well. We'll start with the Chancery Court. The process of effecting security enhancements has begun. Some effort's been made on Larry's part to get with the city about a small structure in the rear of that building that is in the way and is a problem. It's a water pump, I think it is.
It's really nothing to it now, it's just a water line, that's all it's gonna be. And
Right.
they're going to tear the building down. So
They're going to do it?
They want to tear it down and they're gonna move that out of there and everything. And I talked to the mayor, met with him, and then we gotta do something with the water line and it'll be his part too, so.
Is that like a meter in there or something?
There's nothing in there really, nothing but a water line of ours coming out of there, going into the building, that's all. It used to be a generator in there, if I remember right, Walter, when you were over there years ago, Brandon, City Brandon, and they had a monitoring station in there and some other stuff. That's where the chloride, the fluoride.
Chlorine house or whatever.
Chlorine all went into the water system and stuff.
Okay.
That's no longer there anymore. So they're gonna tear that building down and then we'll be able to expand the parking lot just a little bit, and before you got a price, I turned in to Laura, them on the fencing and everything to be put up there as well.
And I think because of the alteration on the fencing just a little bit, it's gonna avoid having to do a retaining wall.
Yeah. I think
That's
so.
gonna save us
Actually,
some
we're
money
gonna
too.
move it inside
They're
just a
gonna
little
move
bit to leave the gas
Right.
meters on the
On the
outside for
outside.
utility people to read and stuff like that. It'll expand it just a little bit, but it'll be enough for all the court staff and everybody to be in and out, and especially the judges to be in and out there.
Some of the security enhancements are locking the magnetic mechanisms on the doors and preventing access in certain ways. And so those enhancements are ongoing now. We met with JH&H, the architect, with Department of Archives and History. Y'all are aware of that situation. The Department of Archives and History has exempted the Chancery building, and it's not included, as I mentioned to you, it's not included on any of the historical documentation, which means that we don't have to go through them for permission to make any sort of improvements to the facility, whatever those may be, whether security or otherwise. JH&H is looking at some of the access issues, and we received from JH&H and we'll be prepared to discuss it with you probably at the next board meeting. We'll be prepared to discuss it with you, their terms of service and, you know, hourly rates and all that other kind of stuff. We need to get that loose end locked down with them. But they're not waiting on that. They're moving forward with their work. Larry you can add anything about the specifics about what is being done right now on the security side on Chancery, but.
Well, I don't really want to talk where you said the other day a lot of that was.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
wanna.
well, the security enhancements are what they are. I mean, magnetic door locks, preventing access in certain ways, looking at a way to allow the judges to interact with one another without having to come out into the middle of a crowd.
Right.
So is that what JHH is doing? Is they're looking at
In part,
moving
yes.
stuff around in there, or?
Don't forget that the judge retained the security consultant and did that by order, and this board simply acknowledged the receipt of the order and authorized the work to proceed. So there's a bit of a tandem process. JH&H's responsibility is more on the access issues and not necessarily on the security side. They're not going to speak to those issues, except where the security issues may impact structure. That's the issue. And so there will be some interplay between.
So are they doing just access or are they doing ADA access?
Yes, primarily ADA. When I say access, that's what I'm
Okay.
talking about, is
All right.
ADA. That's their primary focus.
I don't know if I follow that or not. I don't understand when you say they're doing ADA access, that the security measures that have been provided will accompany the ADA access.
So it's gonna be both, basically
And
both.
as far as you ADA in the building, no, it's not curing the problem with
Right.
ADA in the building. You still got your sterile staircase.
Right.
Employees and others have to use these every day, which is as I put the architects and the archives and the engineers all went, this is totally uncalled for. No access to downstairs, totally uncalled for.
Well, that's why I was asking, are
The
they
building
looking at that?
itself- And I'm gonna tell you what I did, the building itself would not accommodate the structural issues that we needed to accommodate all the security issues. So, putting stairs downstairs is impractical, because of all the structure, the way the building's built, it's just too old. Secondly, there's too many braces, too many bearing walls and things of that nature. Literally, the architects, engineers, and Craig was visiting with the judge at this time, but in front of all of us, and everybody was with us, and all, they turned to us and shook their head and said, you know, this is absolutely, this is terrible. Building really, in a sense, should be torn down. And it's because it's got so many people that occupied it over the years, it's just got too many odds and ends and areas to go in. But it's impractical to try to put steps in the middle up front. It's impractical to try to put an elevator in because it won't fit. You still got, so what I've done is went back and I've eliminated all of that. We're gonna continue to use what we got and minimize the amount of work that we need from JH&H or any of the engineers. I'm gonna minimize it down to the point of taking Shayna out of her office, who does mental and drug and alcohol commitments every day, because her office cannot be used as a passageway, the only passageway to get to all the records in the courthouse that lawyers come and pull every day and downstairs. Unacceptable. They can't come through her office to do that. So we will eliminate her office, move her into our staff attorney's office, which is across the hall, and make that her permanent office. Then I'll relocate what I call my seal room, where all my seal cases are, that stays under lock and key. I've got to relocate it somewhere, and with JH&H, and Craig knows that that's a very sensitive area. JH&H will relocate it somewhere that can be accessible to the court administrators, the judges, and ourselves only. And then what I'll do is take the court attorney, the staff attorney, and put him in where that room is. So we're talking about moving a few walls and all that. Because what I said, when I heard them say $500,000, I said, stop, we're not going there. I said, we're not gonna put $500,000 in this building. We're just gonna hope and pray for a new building. And I said, you know, if you put $500,000 in this building, it's not gonna solve the problem. It's like putting a Band-Aid on it. So we're probably narrowing it back down, Jay. I'm narrowing it back down to probably less than $100,000, if that, to move a few walls and put a few things in that will accommodate us and make the arrangements that Craig is talking about as far as when the security goes in, it won't hamper our logistics and how we move around and what we do. But it won't, you know, the protection will be there for all of us, but the logistics of being able to get from one office to the next and all that, when they put all this stuff in, the security stuff, it eliminated all that. So we have to move a few offices around and make arrangements to make it work. So on y'all's behalf, I took it on myself to knock the $500,000 down to a little bit of nothing, with the wishes that we'll get out of that building, sometime soon, and find a better way to operate and do our stuff in there and all. So anyway, but I just couldn't see putting $500,000 in that building. But when they looked at me, and George Bobo and Buster said, "You look at the $500,000, maybe $1 million." I said, "No, it's not going to happen. We'll live with what we got. We've lived as long with what we got, and we'll just move a few walls around and make it work, and everything." Because the security stuff you put in, more than likely we can take it all with us, glasses and all that kind of stuff. We probably can reuse all that. And it's about right at $55,000, excluding the fence, which is about $30,000. So we're holding the cost down to a minimum.
The glass is 55,000?
Cameras, videos,
Oh, okay.
recorders,
Yeah.
glass.
Everything else on the inside,
yes,
security's
this is
doing.
all the security in the building is right at $55,000. The fencing is like $29,000, $28,000. Now, it's a super duper fence. It's one of these that you can't see through. 8 to 10 feet tall, wrapped all the way around there.
So you've already got with a JH&H and told them what you would like to see
I
done?
met with George Friday, George Bobo, I assume was representing you guys and representing, I guess is the conduit between.
That's why I'm asking. I want to find out where we are and,
But anyway, I told George that I wanted to kick back. I didn't want to spend all that kind of money. It doesn't make any sense.
you want a kickback?
I mean,
Really?
I want to kick back. And say that I don't want to spend that much money to try to renovate an old building like
Right.
that. It's just crazy. And I think you'd get criticized for it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to do that. And I just said, let's cut back and let's just decide that the simplest, easiest way to move stuff around and basically call it temporary until we can make some decisions on.
Well, Larry, if we were to come and add on to the back of the building back there and, offices, elevator and all that, would that building still be in bad shape? I've never been in there,
Yeah,
so.
Mr. Stringer and I talked about it. We talked about his idea, actually taking the parking lot where they park now behind the building, actually, putting in a 2 to 3 story
Yeah.
structure, and then build it, and then you keep using our existing facilities, and then move into there, and then renovate the front. I think it would work. I just have to get with an architect and just see if it would work. The problem you're gonna have again is parking. But what you would probably want to wind up doing is having 2 entrances. You'd make the back, the main entrance off the parking lot that's out there, and just build a walkway across, or either some covered walkway across, for people to come and go.
Yeah.
And all that, because the only parking we got is basically city of Brandon parking, which is about 25 spaces.
Right.
Which is nothing,
Which
really.
is nothing really.
Yeah.
Everybody comes to the paper.
Do they park down here?
Whatever.
Where do they park whenever y'all have court?
They park anywhere they.
Anywhere they
I mean,
can
do you
find.
have a lot of people on a daily basis that need to park?
And that's the thing that bothers me, is with the new security, it puts everybody in one area of a little bitty waiting room. It's probably not much bigger from that podium to you guys, if it's that big. May not be that big. And it puts all your litigants in there who all are fighting with each other. As you well know, if they get a divorce, or if a child issue, or it's a land issue, or whatever the issue may be, it puts all of them in there, as Craig well knows, with their attorneys. And I've got some relief on their attorneys now. I talked to Judge Fairley, we're letting the attorneys come on back if there's a place for them to go, because they're keeping everything locked down in the back. And all, so it's really been like playing a game. You just gotta figure out where you move them to, they're not allowed to go down to the law library, so I've been letting them use my office, which is an inconvenience to me. They're not allowed to go back to the back, sit on the back pole, that back stairwell back there on that side.
You talking about litigants, right?
Anybody, attorneys are litigants, and so it's been a challenge for me to try to manage everybody's feelings, to move them around, to make accommodations for them, to let them use my office, or let them go in there and use my public access and all that. Like, attorney came in the other day, he needed to get to the law library, because he needed to go into court at 9, and they would not let him go downstairs, so I just brought him in my office and plugged him up, let him run some copies off.
I thought that's what that law library is for the
It is,
public.
but when the judge says nobody goes down there, what am I supposed to do?
Okay. That's why they couldn't go down there.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
And most of the time, the court starts at 9 every day, and so what the problem is that the judges ain't got there by 9 or whatever, which I don't monitor their time, but nobody goes downstairs until the judges are in place. So everybody's out front and all that, so it just creates a problem, but I mean.
So their waiting area currently is being cut in half or something like that, or?
Third or less. It's about from me to that wall
Yeah.
to that wall.
Yeah, about
It's
all
the
it is.
whole waiting area
It's
for
hot
everybody.
in there, and you got screaming babies in there, and you got children in there, and you got people that hate each other in there, and you got, it's like you gotta monitor them at the same time you gotta monitor everything else.
So they have both courtrooms going at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we have 3 courtrooms going. We have all the.
The-
DHS.
Yeah.
And family master.
Okay.
Ex parte on Fridays, which is a crush of litigants that don't have lawyers.
So JH&H is working on that.
That, yeah, when you say JH&H is working on it, they are conducting a review.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They're gonna come forward at some point in the not too distant future and tell you guys, here is what we have found about your Chancery Court and your old courthouse. Here's what you're looking at. And it will be not, from my understanding, not inclusive of a lot of the security stuff, since that's already being addressed.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
There may be some discussion about that, but they're gonna primarily be focused on telling you guys, this is where you have access issues, and I'm talking about ADA type access.
Yeah.
Because that's federal law, that's how you can get sued. So they're gonna be focusing on that primary danger. And for the most part, they're going to be focusing you guys on two things. Access as it relates to getting from the street level of the chancery down to the bottom, which is a major problem. There's no elevator.
Yeah.
There's two ways down, both of them are stairs, and there's no way for somebody who's handicapped to be able to get from street level to the back door of the Chancery building and it not be an ADA violation.
Right.
And
Just can't be done.
I mean, that's the first thing they told us. Laura was standing there with me. He said, I'm surprised all y'all hadn't been sued. That's the first thing all six of them told us. And of course, Laura went up and down the staircase, and I told her I'd invite all y'all to come do at least 10 times in one day, and my ladies do every day. You know, and the thing about it, the guy identified the staircase as being the smallest of all the staircases. That garden's the smallest, and this one literally, it just fits your body to go down every day, and my ladies go down it up and down.
It's
every
for
day.
safety.
They get their
It's for
exercise,
safety.
don't
Yeah.
Huh?
They get their exercise
I'm sure
in.
and tell me that.
It's a submarine.
It's for safety, you know, they make it
Laura
narrower,
went down it
so.
one time, and she said, you're going to have to help me back up. That's gonna get me. All that, but they do that every
It's-
day, but
it's
that
hard.
was a big
So-
one though, right there.
They are gonna come with a review of what they found.
Correct.
So, are they gonna come with any recommendations?
I would assume that there are gonna be some recommendations
Okay.
in there. Whether you wanna hear them or not is a different question, but I would assume that they're gonna give you some options along with some proposed price tags.
I did challenge them, Jay, to give you the truth.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
You challenged them.
I challenged them to give you the truth. If
Yeah.
all of them say what they said in that basement down there, y'all would just be, don't spend any money on it, tear it down. I mean, that
Oh,
was
we're
challenge.
not, well, I don't.
What about the, old courthouse?
Yes, on the old courthouse, we had a review with the same group. This one's different in that Department of Archives and History is very much involved. You're dealing with a historical building, and so access, and when I say access, I'm talking about ADA stuff, okay?
Mhm.
So we're clear about that. Access issues in the old courthouse is a major problem, both in the delineated historical part of the building, which is the 1924 part, and in the add-on part, 57 part. You've got access issues in both spots, okay? Your elevator that exists right now is not ADA compliant. So
It's not?
not even the elevator that we have in there. When I say the elevator, the elevator itself may be compliant. How you get to it and how you get out of it is not.
Well, it shows
How is that?
handicap
Because where
entrance.
when you come out of it, you have to go down a hallway, you have to turn steep, it's like
None of
like
the
a Z.
turning radiuses.
You have to turn like that, there's no turn radius.
doesn't
None
give
of the
you the,
To
turning
get around
radiuses
those,
are
whether you're
compliant.
downstairs or upstairs.
So it's not really the elevator, it's the facility outside of
Right.
it?
Yeah, but if I provide you an elevator to nowhere, I haven't provided you anything.
Okay.
That's what we're dealing with.
All right.
All right, so you're dealing with a building.
So they're going to present us with those on the old courthouse also?
Yes.
They're gonna tell you what you need to hear about the old courthouse.
okay.
What we need to hear?
When are we looking at all?
What you want.
Yeah.
Don't wanna hear.
How long are we, is it, what kind of time frame are they looking at to
I
give us
don't
this
know.
information?
I do not know the answer to that question. We'll have to follow up with them and ask.
Well, you know, I would like whenever they do come, to give us some, you know, dollar wise in terms of construction and comparison to what our future holds. What'll be best for us. And
I suspect that they'll be telling you as well as it relates to the old courthouse, that everything has to go through Department of Archives and History and acquire their permission.
so JHA's doing all, what is Buster doing?
They're doing the 10-year plan, they're doing the overall 10-year plan, and George was hired by you guys as to be the catalyst for that through his agency to do a study of what we're gonna, what the needs are for 10 years down the road.
10 years for the whole county?
For government.
Yeah, yeah.
I would really have to let y'all defer really to Buster to put meat on that bone, because that was really more Colonel Stringer talking to Buster. And I wasn't really integrally involved in those.
Well, I just never, y'all know I didn't feel comfortable to do it to start with, but I haven't heard any, that's first I heard what the
That's what
scope of
Colonel
work
Stringer
was.
told me, and that's what he was hired to do, to look at the assessment for the future and all. But I assume what he's doing now is working along with Buster to solve some of these needs, these immediate needs as well.
Oh, you mean JHH? Yeah. I would think they definitely probably working hand in hand on this, but
Yeah.
you don't really want them overlapping though.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, when I first got elected, the first order of business I had on my plate as a brand new supervisor, president of the board, was we got sued and we had to put in that elevator in the old courthouse. It's gonna cost us a lawsuit, so we immediately ordered that elevator. It really wasn't that expensive, I don't remember.
That's
How-
when it was put in.
How-
That's when it was put in.
An 88.
How did it meet the ADA requirement? I guess back then that it met the ADA. Now it's changed. I know that they do change periodically
The
as far as.
elevator got the ADA compliant, I think it's the one you get off.
That's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
But how does it?
well, it
did any of
probably
that-
wasn't near as strong 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
that's right.
I'm,
You know.
I'm gonna say when Roy was here, we did a project and supposedly.
JBHM did a study for us on
We had
that
an
building.
ADA compliant officer that was here for many years. Hey, you remember what I did.
Well,
And
y'all-
He sat in the courthouse over there and all that, and he did all the ADA compliant stuff and all. I would assume that would have been part of it.
Well, see, that's the thing about ADA. They do change periodically because I can tell you at Flowood, 2003, the library, you could have 2 parking spaces. Now you have to have 6. So over that
Yes.
amount of time,
There
changes.
there was no official ADA until 1991. That's when the first President Bush signed it into law. But back as early as the early 80s and forward, issues of handicap access were huge. And while there was no official federal law,
Yeah.
the states were enacting compliance statutes, and that's sort of what brought it to a head and pushed it up to the federal level. So, not having an elevator in a building like that and having public access to a function of county government on that level,
Yeah.
that's a problem. That's a problem. You're gonna put your justice court clerk on.
So whenever they come, they're
Yeah.
gonna give
That was
us
circuit,
some,
that was circuit court back then. That was a highly used building. It's just like our
Yeah.
circuit next door.
yeah.
Everybody came. Yeah.
So they're gonna give us some alternatives to that. Cause I know we originally started about a bathroom, which I could have swore the judge told us that day we didn't have one that was ADA compliant in that building. But we do.
He
I'm
did say
told
that.
now.
Judge Shirley?
But we do have one on the floor below it.
Yeah. Well,
But even though I think that bathroom upstairs, I think it's small, what they told us, and it probably
I think
needs to
that's
be
what he was talking about.
something done anyway. But, so we do have one. It's not like, cause there was a day when all this come about, I think there's a gentleman that had to leave the court to go next door to the circuit clerk's office to use their facility. I don't know why he didn't use one downstairs.
I think it's the problem again with the access to it downstairs, getting off the elevator, because as I understand it, it was an oversized wheelchair, and the navigation
couldn't get to it.
would have been a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, that could have been
All right.
where those halls are.
So they gonna come with all these issues with us and, okay.
That's what I'm anticipating, yes.
When do we expect to be,
We'll
I asked that
follow up
question.
with
We'll
JHH
have to find
and
out.
ask.
all right.
Can you check with them?
I
See what
will.
their status is.
I'm hesitant to even suggest, because I'm not sure
Okay.
exactly.
I just
All
wanna
right.
get a better understanding where we were.
Yep. And
Okay.
when.
Any further additional
I have one more thing
information?
to add.
Okay.
That the sheriff just gave me, and this is authority, to add a grant for the impaired driving, in the amount of $55,794. It's a grant that we usually get each year. This will be the 2000.
That's not a
Motion to
motion.
approve.
Motion to approve to
Add
add
the
this
item.
item. Motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
This is the impaired driving grant from Mississippi Office of Highway Safety, the amount of $55,794. It is 100%, and we need authority for the president to execute the documents.
What is that, DUI equipment or something? What is that?
Pay the salaries.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Bishop. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
What?
One additional item, it's just a quick discussion to let you guys know, so you hear from me and not just out there. The judge in the federal court case, the True the Vote case, where they sued our election commissioners.
Right.
Remember that? We discussed that. The judge entered her order on Friday afternoon about 5:30, and has thrown out two of the claims that were made by True the Vote. And in my opinion, it kind of guts their case, and essentially it leaves them with very few options. She let stand one part of their lawsuit because there has been no discussion or testimony or briefing or anything else about that sole remaining claim. All the effort was put into whether or not they can get access to personal voter information just by requesting it under the federal law, and whether or not they complied themselves with that very law in presenting their claims. And she ruled on both cases, they didn't properly proceed by giving us notice, and they're not entitled to the documents even if they had. So that's two really big wins for our election commissioners and our circuit clerk. Really, really big W's right there.
Where's that other one at? Where the gentleman, the judge, the federal judge that came in?
Yeah.
It was a man, wasn't it?
No, sir. This is Judge Nancy Atlas.
Well, what's the other one then? That Chris
Oh, you're
McDaniels.
talking about
That's
McGehee.
the one in Jones County.
Yes.
Hollis
Hollis McGehee, who is a senior status judge.
Yeah.
was, actually a chancellor.
He's going by Shannon.
Are we not involved with that one also?
No, sir.
Okay.
Our involvement with that one was because the McDaniel group subpoenaed or attempted to subpoena the same documents that they had come in and asked for and didn't want to pay for, and we blocked them. So they tried to backdoor us by going through that lawsuit down there in Jones County to subpoena them. That didn't work either.
Okay.
So that case has been thrown out.
Yeah, he threw it out.
So is it all over with now?
I think they-
That other
He,
one?
he'll know today, I guess.
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
tomorrow, they put it off till tomorrow now.
Okay. He's probably gonna appeal Judge McGee's denial of their relief.
To the Supreme
up to
Court.
Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when they speak on it, if they follow Judge McGee, it's done.
All right.
Unless they.
Then I guess they'll take fines out of the yard, huh?
So we're about done with being that whole election?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious to see what Truth Vote does. I don't know yet. I can't answer that question. It's up to them.
Right.
They've got a limited amount of time to decide to appeal what Judge Atlas did. But my hope is we're done.
When do we meet again?
September 15, 2009. Do I have a motion to recess?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Hey, man, you know that